People think of laws, first of all, I could always get a B on an exam, even if I didn't go to class and didn't memorize all the law, because 80% of the analysis is your storytelling and your creative thinking. How can you take a set
Interesting.
of facts and craft a story from them? And there's such a level of precision required. And as a lawyer, like one word can change the whole legal argument of a sentence or potentially even a comma. Like it's pretty wild. And so looking back now, as whenever you look in hindsight, things start to, you see how everything fits together. I think that it's given me this level of precision in terms of detail and that the logic of putting together stories, this hyper sensitivity to it.
Good day, filmmaker Kristen Gerweck Diaz of the fantastic film Milk Baby. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. We just had our premiere at Holly Short. So it's been a whirlwind of a week, but all exciting to see people's reactions to the film and enthusiasm. That's always a good thing.
And I'm excited to talk with you about that. So you mentioned Holly Shorts. It premiered there August 10th. The film itself, an innocent entry into a maternity home, blurs into a nightmare, which I love that log line. When you're watching that film in a theater, and let me preface this by saying great art should challenge people. Do you feel like there is ever a time where, based on whether the viewer has kids or not, has lived through the experience that Milk Baby is going through, that of course, they encounter the film differently, but does it surprise you in ways in which different people encounter the film?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting. I actually had a filmmaker friend of mine watch it before she had a child, and she really responded to some of the larger themes, but she said, "Oh, dear Lord, now that I've had a child,
Right.
this film is jumping out to me, and I'm wanting to rewatch it." And to see the different buttons that different parents that they take away from it is
Yeah.
really incredible, and sometimes it does surprise me. One mother alone just said in her breastfeeding journey, the nightmare of it, that this made her
Oh my
feel
gosh.
seen and not alone, and because a lot of these feelings that people have around parenthood, again, it's not the consumer kind of painted imagery of it, or even
Yeah.
on social media now where we're inundated with so many fantasies of what parent this curated reality really. So I think people feel, even though it's terrifying, they feel seen, and knowing that these feelings are normal and there should be no shame around them because it is for many people. I always say parenthood, what I discovered about it is that heaven and hell could be one place.
I love that.
And
And
every parent I say that to, they're like, yeah, and no judgment around it. There's moments of
yeah, exactly.
heaven and there's just moments that are they're pretty hellish, and that's okay.
And
Obviously, it's
and
taking on a new life beyond that, but yes, and then there's people that watch the film that don't have children, women
right.
that really connect with it in terms of just the expectations that are placed upon women. But I've had a lot of single men or non-parent men that also really respond to some of the larger themes and
Okay.
are being in a consumeristic society, and how much mind control there is in that, and how disconnected we are sometimes from the truth of certain realities that people are facing. The dairy industry is a great one. We see these milk cartons with every these picturesque fields and cows and have no idea the horror shows that these animals are living through to be able to provide this product. I think that larger parallel connects it all. It's like, what are the stories we're being told? What are
Yeah.
we consenting to? What are we consuming? What are we normalizing? And how is that disconnecting us from some of these darker realities that are being swept under the carpet that no one wants to talk about?
I love that, and the film does go through all that. It's not just geared solely to you have to have kids to fully appreciate the film, and that's one part of it that I really love.
Yeah, and I think that's always great. I You asked a question when you have a specific story that you're telling, you know, how to expand that so that it appeals
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
audience, and that always comes in your themes. And usually I find that themes, even in specific stories, if they're profound and pretty deep, they're gonna have a large reach that people are gonna be able to connect emotionally, because that's really, at the end of the day, why people watch films. They wanna feel something, whether it's terror or grief or love, but they want the vicarious ride and thinking about your themes and how they connect to the world and where we're at in our world in the moment of this snapshot of the current climate, that's always important to consider as a filmmaker. If you are looking to do that, if you're I always think if you wanna tell a story and it's important to you, you shouldn't always be concerned about the reach or pleasing people. I like to make films so that people can feel things, because I think about the films that I've watched over the years. We all have them, we've watched them over and over again that changed our life in some way and shifted our perspective or made us feel seen, and I always strive to hopefully pass forward that experience to someone else from those who have given it to me.
So you have quite the intriguing background. You have your law degree from UCLA. So how did you get involved in filmmaking? And then do you think that ability to, because they say law school is not necessarily about learning law, it's about learning how to think and learning how to write in a precise way. So do you think your filmmaking, obviously your filmmaking is a product of your life experiences, but do you think your legal education has helped make your films a little bit more complex, a little bit more precise in terms of telling your stories? Like what specifically does that background help you bring to filmmaking?
Yeah, I think now connecting the dots. At the time I wish, "Oh god, why didn't I just go to film school and skip this whole thing?"
Contracts, yeah, exactly.
Very fulfilled, and I always say film saved my life in a way, because film, even everyone said the seas calmed in my life once I found it. I had always been interested in storytelling at a young age. My teachers were like, "She's meant to tell stories," but my parents were like, "No, you're meant to be a doctor or a lawyer." It's just the time I grew up in, the pressure. But I went to UCLA because I think something deep inside of me wanted to get to LA, and so I'd always been taking
Yeah,
classes. I learned the most actually in theater, like doing theater.
okay.
That's what I feel like my biggest playground out of any class I took on directing, which I just took a few. I mostly just spent time in the theater. But in terms of law, yes, people think of law as, first of all, I could always get a B on an exam, even if I didn't go to class and didn't memorize all the law, because 80% of the analysis is your storytelling and your creative thinking. How can you take a set
Interesting.
of facts and craft a story from them? And there's such a level of precision required. And as a lawyer, like one word can change the whole legal argument of a sentence or potentially even a comma. Like it's pretty wild. And so looking back now, as whenever you look in hindsight, things start to, you see how everything fits together. I think that it's given me this level of precision in terms of detail, and that the logic of putting together stories, this hyper sensitivity to it, I think it's and I know actually a few lawyers who have become writers. Actually, the best attorneys, like in trial attorneys, are storytellers.
Creative. Right.
They're the best. Anyone can look up the laws for you. They're on your paralegal or anyone.
AI can do that
Yeah,
now, right?
whole thing. It's more so, how do you tell a story? How do you connect with a jury emotionally is so important. And so it was a good training ground. I feel like it's also, as a filmmaker, because I definitely would love to just live on my creative cloud and never have to think about practical issues. But as a director, I
Absolutely.
think, and people have worked with me said that they love that while I'm very passionate about my visions, I also have a sense of practicality and the other logistics of it and what's involved. So I feel like it is nice to sometimes have that right brain skill to look at a problem that may not be creative, but could be logistical, and look for solutions. And I always say, anyway, your limitations are always invitations for creative solutions that may really surprise you and be better than what you originally planned. But yeah, I think it's helpful. I would say though, I would never advocate for myself. What I would say about that is I think that a lot of times creatives, especially in their earlier careers, they're, I don't wanna say desperate, eager to get a deal done, to get their first project in motion, that they often agree to things without thinking through the implications until they actually,
100%. Yeah.
and also because they're coming from a place of emotion. The first project I ever optioned to book, I was producing on it, and I was so eager with my partner, and she's also a business background. We got the worst deal ever, and I'm a lawyer because my emotions were involved, and I could not be objective to advocate for myself. So, I have a great attorney, Eric Feig, and I do not advocate for myself in projects because 'cause I'm emotionally involved. Creative and
Right,
it clouds your judgment. But now I am better, like, further along in my career about saying no to things that I'm like, I know the reality of what that's gonna be, and I think you always have to be prepared as a filmmaker or in any deal to walk away.
right.
If you can't walk away, then you really have no, if you don't feel like you can walk away, you don't really have much leverage in the conversation. But yes, I think,
I love that.
yeah, it's a combination, but so I always say have someone else advocate for you if you,
So you started filmmaking, you made a short, East Ramadi, and I feel like your filmmaking is really challenging, right? You're not just putting out things that are just milquetoast, average. You're really pushing the viewer. When you watch other shorts, do you feel that's where we are in the medium, or do you feel a little bit, "Oh, man, I'm really able to set myself apart?"
I'll say a few things about that. It's my personality to go big or go home. My first short
Yeah.
actually had, it was my first directing class, and I'd written this script, and my professor was like, "This script is amazing, but you can't possibly choose this for your first short film. It's partially out of language because it's wartime, set in Iraq. You have kids, weapon, do not do this for your first short. You can. It's, you're never gonna wanna make a film again. It's gonna be a total disaster." And so for me, when someone tells me I can't do something, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna try. It was super, for a first time directing experience, crazy. But I knew that we could do it. I knew I had the right team to do it. And yeah, within 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of shooting the film, I was like, wow, I always have this feeling. Oh my God, everyone's here. This is really happening. Like people showed up for this. Oh, oh my God. And then after 10 minutes, I was completely at home. I really felt like I had found home when I got
Yeah.
to set. So that is my personality, and I kept upping the ante. Milk Baby really took it to another level. Just the sheer magnitude of building a world from scratch and the shots we had planned and the level of design. But I really hustled on sponsorships, on raising money. Panavision sponsored us, Formosa Studios sponsored us in sounds, Company 3 sponsored us. We had so many people just come in and do us different favors, and all because they believed in the project. So I do like to take a lot of risks. It's my personality, and once I have a vision, I'm just, and I can feel it, like I have to make this film and I have to make this reality. I'll do whatever it takes. Now that being said, I think for a lot of short filmmakers, we have like beginner filmmakers, right? And
Right.
according to the advice of my professor, which, is do something simple, do something doable. I think a lot of times it's budget constraints, lack of
Yeah.
experience, and wanting to take on something that feels manageable, which it can be a perfectly lovely film. And listen, I think anyone who's has the guts to make a film and put something out there, I'm always like,
Exact
to you,
Yeah.
like, it's so brave to even embark upon that. But yeah, I think a lot of it is just also the budget that's available, what feels doable, lack of experience, and maybe not feeling ready to take risks. So that's fine too. And if that's the story they want to tell, great. At least you're getting it out there. But I always, if I consult or talk to other artists, I always say take the risk. Like
Yeah.
do what people are telling you is not possible, because it always is. If you're really driven to tell this story, you'll find a way, and also people will jump on board because they're gonna feel your passion for it, and that's the truth of it. When you're super excited about something, you walk in a room to pitch it, people are
It's
like,
authentic. Yeah.
they're excited too because so many people are unexcited. It's a tough industry. People are jaded or just not maybe feeling empowered, but people get excited, and that on Milk Baby, a lot of people said, "Wow." And I had a guy who was in one department, he was driving trucks and doing other logistical things, and he said, "I feel so inspired. This is so exciting." 'Cause I
Yeah,
like to make sure that everyone involved knows what they're making. I don't care what position they're in, because I really believe that
I
energy,
love that.
excitement, and people feeling inspired, they're gonna work harder, they're gonna give you their best, they're gonna feel valued, and that's when miracles happen. So, making a good film is literally a miracle.
It really is. That's great leadership as well, Kristen, with making sure everybody's involved. It probably encourages people to come back and work on a set that you run again, if they know that's the kind of leadership they're gonna get from you.
Yeah, and support. We actually the last night, because we were shooting very late and it was a big push, it was 1 AM, I had someone come do a sound bath on set
Wow.
for 15 minutes, and honestly, instead of us all chugging coffee, which I was, thinking about, but then I was like, "I know that energy, that frazzled, jumpy energy, it's not the best for creating, keeps you awake, but not so clear always." The sound bath, everyone was wow, it was like a perfect recharge. Thank you. We had ginger shots. I like to take care of people, it's like a family, and I think for so long, the culture was not to take care of people or to be concerned about people that are not this lead actors or but these are the people that are the heart of the film. Without them, there's nothing. So, yeah, I like to create that kind of culture, and I have found it to be very effective in terms of productivity and the work that's created.
That's awesome. So you did an interview with The New Current, which I love. They asked really in-depth questions, and I enjoyed reading it. I'll link it in the show notes. And you talked about the VFX of a shot that is close to concluding the film. Did you ever think of AI to be a part of the film? Was AI ever considered to be a part of the film? And what are your thoughts on using that tool going forward?
Yes. At that time, no. I have to
Okay.
admit, I've been a bit resistant to certain aspects of technology. I have social medias for my film, but I'm not on it like my personal I don't have a personal life one.
Love that.
Just self-preservation. My mind's already
Yeah,
like a Ferrari without brakes, so I really just know that
I love that.
it would be the end of me in terms of distraction and the rabbit holes and buying things I don't need. But lately, I am really being more open to
Yeah,
the power of AI. I don't think it can replace authentic storytelling and human connection and soul, but I think it can be an incredible tool if wielded ethically and wisely in terms of mm, mm, storytelling and what visuals you're able to create. I actually was just having a conversation with our amazing DP who I've worked with twice now, John Kang. We are good friends and close collaborators, and we're already I was bringing up certain scenes to him that I have in mind for the feature of Milk Baby. I like to always consult with him in terms of when I'm thinking big ideas, what would that look like cost-wise and get some logistics, and he was saying it's evolving so quickly that one he talked about a runway Aleph, that
yep,
things that were only able to be created on super large budgets by studios may now be available to filmmakers, and it could actually, in that sense, level the playing field in
right.
terms of the scale of shots that could be available in worlds that you could build. I For the wheel, obviously, the factory, we did rely on VFX, which again, like, even though because I love the theater, right? So I come from this background of wanting everything to be organic and real and
And real, exactly.
yeah, but in this case, I actually think it was the best option. One, not just for cost. We built a quadrant of the wheel, and then we're able to recreate more digital copies of these wheels and to create the expanse of that. We were in a factory, but it was not that large because we wanted that moment. It's a climactic moment where we realize, whoa, this is a large scale operation. in fact,
Yeah.
this is terrifying what's going on here, and is really sourced from the world of dairy again. So it's all not even completely made up, which is pretty scary. It's already happening in our world, maybe not to humans at this time, but it, yeah, like it's I was saying with being really open to it because even in that case, we save so much waste. If we had built all those wheels, we would have had to thrown everything in the garbage the next day. Like,
Right,
where's that
exactly.
going? In the dumpster somewhere of this pile of trash that's building on our earth. So I think in certain cases, VFX and AI can be wonderful tools when used wisely and could also really level the playing field. And I think it's happening. So at this point, even myself, I'm like, I need to educate myself and get on the wagon because it's like the internet, it's not going away, right? It's here to stay. It's going to advance. And so, how can I use it, but in the way that I want to tell stories that does not compromise? Because even if you go on these different apps where they create scripts and stuff, because do consulting for screenwriters,
Okay.
it's okay. It could line a beat sheet for you and it understands Save the Cat. And it can
Yeah,
be a brainstorming tool if it can ignite something and you're sitting alone in a room and have no one to talk to. But I think it doesn't have that originality. Then you have these issues of IP, right? Because it's really just a collection of other people's ideas. And then also you have to be careful putting your ideas into it because then it's now part of the library. So yeah, I think that it's a great editing tool. I'm not gonna lie. Like I use Grammarly to edit sometimes when I have a huge push of things to push out, prose.
100%. Yeah,
Um, you almost are forced to because otherwise you can't keep up with the productivity
the
levels of a
demand of right.
yeah. So I think it's like you have to find your way to use it and preserve the authenticity and voice of your work because a lot of when people read my scripts, they're like, I love your voice and the visuals, and it's so strong. And so I don't think AI is there yet. So I would still encourage people to create their own stories and write their own stories from at least what I've seen. But in terms of visuals for VFX and stuff, I think that is going to be huge and it could really democratize filmmaking.
Love that. So you mentioned you're working on a feature for Milk Baby. Can you talk about what else you're working on? I know you also maybe converting a climate novel to a screenplay. And then also, Kristen, you mentioned you're off social media for yourself. One of the big things in casting, you'll see promoters pitching films with this actor has a million followers on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. How do you get pressure? Let me check out your socials, Kristen. And do you feel comfortable going into making a feature without worrying about, like, your actors' socials or without any are you gonna be hands off on that? Or, like, what is your overall view on, like,
Yes.
how filmmakers should interact with social media?
So, yeah, a few things. So, in terms of what I'm working on, yes, I am working on an sci-fi action thriller for Atomic Features, which they actually have another film that was just announced on Variety called Black Tuesday. Check it out. It's stock market crash thriller. Yeah, action is really tough. I think action now I understand why there's so few at character development, the choreography of action sequences and it's no joke. So I am working on that. I am also, yeah, the feature of Milk Baby. I'm also developing with another exec a sci-fi thriller. I'll just say the intersection of AI, motherhood, and toxic productivity.
Oh,
Um,
I wanna see that so badly.
oh, it's a good one. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited about this one. I think, yeah, you would definitely enjoy it. And then I am attached to direct a feature set in the 1980s in Japan. Mostly everything I'm working on is sci-fi horror thriller, like an elevated sci-fi horror thriller. This, I would say, it's grounded drama, but it's very maybe like something like in the vein of Silver Linings Playbook. It's a really powerful story and visually stunning, and I just couldn't say no to it because I love the story. That's something I'll say too, like to filmmakers, it's everyone's so concerned about chasing trends and brands. I think I talk about that in my other interview. And that's important. And I definitely have a lane that I'm leaning into right now. But also don't forget the power of simply a great story. And if you feel connected and inspired by it and you feel like I can really service this as a filmmaker, don't be afraid to step out of your lane. Everyone wants people to be branded, right? You have to be
Yeah,
in
right.
this kind of filmmaker and you do this. And there are some of the greats always cross genre anyway, but I think keep that's something to keep in mind, but then also don't walk away from something great because you don't think it's trendy or you don't think it fits your brand because you might miss making one of the greatest films of your life. You never know. And so, yeah, is there pressure? I've always been under pressure. People are always like, because I'm such a private for me, I feel so crazy taking pictures of myself eating avocado toast. It just feels so narcissistic to me and insane. That's the world, and actually, the thriller I'm working on is really almost a retelling of the fable of Narcissus, and how narcissistic also our society has become in this toxic productivity bubble we're in. It requires it almost to be pretty
Yep.
narcissistic. We are gonna build the one for Milk. I love building the film ones, and I am on there, and I am inadvertently on social media. Will someone ever pressure me on there? Would I do it if it came to making a film? I wouldn't do it, but if someone else wants to build it and share reels of work or things
Right.
to work, event or even attending a screening, but am I ever going to be filming myself doing these selfies of me doing mundane things at home or things that I don't really think are important, newsworthy? No. Like, I I'm hoping I don't. I hope maybe there's something to being having some mystique in this world. So
Yeah.
many of our public figures now are so accessible that sometimes you almost get tired of them because it's
A little bit, yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know. I never say never because every time I say never, then a year later it's happening and I'm
You
like, "Oh."
wind up doing it, right.
But I don't think I will ever be sharing my life in that way because it just if it's too cringy for me. I feel ridiculous. It's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And I'm not judging anyone else who does it. I think that's wonderful if you wanna share your life with the world, you should, and it's a wonderful tool, and people are making great livings off becoming online personalities, but, uh, it's just not the career that I want to choose as being an
Do you
online.
think it's different for actors, like, when you're doing your casting? Do you think it is different? Like, they do need to have something on a social media
Yeah,
profile?
because I was just talking about this with someone that worked in marketing at Paramount, and because I do have some actor friends who are not on social media and refuse.
Interesting.
We were discussing whether we think if 2 of them are pinned for a role or
Go
look
with
at
the bigger following.
people that they're gonna choose the actor with the larger following. I would say from a business standpoint, I'm that if it's a studio especially involved and or a network, yes, of course. So again, too, I'm being more open to thinking about what that could look like. I think it's depending on what part of your life do you wanna share as
Yeah.
well. Is it work related? You could be creating content all around film and interesting content that way. To each his own, I say. I am like the least judgmental person, but it is definitely there is a pressure and it's a strange world we live in. And honestly, my personal view of it is or that true wealth is the amount of time I can spend offline.
I
That's gonna be a measure of wealth in the future. You can spend offline because I feel like so many people I see having these on they're glued to their computers, and I just had a friend recently finally built up her agency enough to hire because she does social media marketing, to hire a team, and
Yeah.
she's, "Whoa, free, like, I can be in real life again." It's this social media, like, what goes into really creating an influencer's content reel, it's insane amount of work. Like, I don't even yeah,
It
it
uh, uh 1,000%. I'm sure we could go down this whole another hour discussion of kids on social media because I see, like, every time the TV makes a sound, I hear my son, like, his face just so I'm like, "Oh god, this is horrible." So I'm sure that is a whole other topic. Kristen, the Indie Film Podcast, love hyping other people's projects as part of because it's so hard out there, as you've mentioned. Is there a filmmaker or film that you wish more people knew about?
Oh.
I know, last curveball. But something that maybe you've seen at a festival or something that, like, you don't think has gotten enough love out there that you think, "Man, I wish more people watched this
Oh
particular
my god,
film
I
or
just have
this
to say,
filmmaker?"
actually, and this is just the true answer, it wasn't at a festival. I saw it's an indie film, and out of Spain, it's older. It was actually
Ooh.
precursor to Vanilla Sky. It's called Open Your
Ooh.
Eyes. It is absolutely incredible, like Christopher Nolan level incredible. I love Vanilla Sky, and this I'm happy to say because I just saw it. My husband just introduced me to it. I had known about it, but I'd never watched it because he said, "Oh, watch Vanilla Sky." Because I know you've got it. You're gonna love this as a filmmaker. So incredible, and it wasn't based on a book. So profound, the themes. I think Vanilla Sky is a film that it's those are the kind of films that people watch, they may not ever understand it fully, and they still like it, and you can watch it over and find a new Easter
Pick up new
egg.
things.
Look up
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my goodness, like, how is he not working more?" It is
That
really masterful filmmaking. So, I would
love
say
that.
out, and as to I will keep you posted on because 'cause I'm now gonna be on this circuit, and so I'll get to see a bunch of really cool
I
short.
love that.
But, yes, there was ones from the other cycle that I did that I was like, "Oh my god, these are amazing." So many you always discover so many cool filmmakers that it's always really exciting to see the next generation of what's coming up in the world.
100%. I love your journey. I think it'll inspire hopefully, there'll be some lawyer listening to this who'll be like, "Man, you know what? I'm done with, talking about legal briefs. I should become a filmmaker." I think your career path is truly inspirational for so many people, and then the film Milk Baby is just I think it pushes art into a great direction for parents, non-parents, and I'm thrilled that you joined me today on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I could talk to you for hours, so you're
I know, I know.
it was a lot of fun, to be honest, so thank you for having me and supporting the work and also for creating this platform. It's so important to get to know new filmmakers and get their work out into the world and have new voices be heard. So I thank you for creating this platform for us.